Hello, welcome to the Sloppy Modeler. Welcome back to the show, and for those of you that are here for the first time, welcome to Sloppy Modeler's modeling page. Happy to have you along with us. In the course of the show, if you do like what you see, we'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and of course share and subscribe. That helps the YouTube algorithm to grow the channel and to share this with more people who might enjoy it. Of course, any comments you have would be highly appreciated, always appreciated at that point. So today we are starting something a little newer and revisiting a project. I have before me here the USS Defiant. I've done a couple of Reliants recently. USS Defiant from Polar Lights. This is the 1/1000 scale, and essentially this is just simply an exercise that I did in taping, masking, painting, and decaling. And what you see here is actually an extensive paint job, and then I put the actual decals over it. So like what you see here on the side pieces, what you see there, that's actually painted first and then the decals laid over it. And actually it turned out super fantastic. And I used what's called a deep sea gray for the hull color, which is way out of left field, but I love the way that turned out. So this is not lit. There are a few challenges with it. There's a pretty sizable gap over here on this piece right there, and a sizable gap in the back here where these engines meet, even in a snap together kit. So this has its own fitting issues, and there's a seam that runs around here that I really didn't sand and deal with. There's a seam that runs right around there. So we're going to take a look at that. The reason I'm revisiting this is because I would like to actually put a set of lights in here. Now there's not a whole lot of room in that 1/1000 scale kit. And the lights that this typically or wouldn't necessarily need would be a deflector dish light in the front, a couple of Bussard collector lights, and a couple of the warp grills in the back. And then you've got these two red pieces here. I don't know if they're lights or whatever. I'm going to do a little research on what those are, but that is all areas of lighting that can be done. And then additionally, this has 3 beacons in it that traditionally light up, which is very interesting. And then you also have, I'm going to put my glasses on for this because this is so small, you also have a series of these little holes here, which I can only assume that I have in the wrong spot. And I would normally put those here and here and in through there, and those would be windows. Same thing with the top pieces here. So I actually have those in the wrong place on this now that I've done a little more research. Regardless, that's going to be lit up. We'll drill those windows. That's a little tiny drill bit. We'll work through that. And then finally, the last thing would be these impulse crystals, or whatever you want to call them here. There's 4 on each side of this. Along with what you'd like to do is that this has a ring and a nub in the inside. I'd like to keep that nub black and just light up the ring on the outside. So that is going to be a particular challenge with that. So that is the first edition of that. The new goal is I'm going to make this a much lighter color. I have a new paint that I picked up. Let's see if I can find that here real closely. Yeah, so this is a glossy paint color. And I think this is, oh come now, why can't I see where the paint color is? Polished concrete. And that's going to be a nice gray, I think. So we're going to work with that as a hull color rather than this dark sea green, although this is cool. And then we'll work out from there with some of the silvers and colors and things like that. But Why don't you come along with me? We'll have a little fun with this, and when we're done, we will have a lit up model, hopefully. And I'm really just going to use this base that comes with it, and just put a little battery in here instead of the solid steel rod. I'm going to put a piece of tubing in there, and then just run wires right up to one switch to turn it on and off, and we're good to go. So with that, we're going to open up this box, and I'm sure you guys have seen the interior of this frequently because it's been done a few times online on YouTube. And that's all right, we're going to do it again here ourselves. But this is like kind of a potato chip bag because it's even with this big thick base, we're now just half full. But what comes with this is a sprue with your Bussard collectors, your warp engines, your interior grill, deflector dish, your two warp crystals, and then all these little tiny other pieces of lights and so forth. So we'll work through that. This is molded in a light gray or bluish gray almost, and essentially I think you've just got a few sprues here. Three sprues, and one of which is, or two of which is just the hull. So that's pretty simple right there. And then just a modicum of parts here for the warp engines. This is really a torpedo housing. It's not the bridge. The bridge on this is right here, which is super, super tiny. So that's an interesting bridge, and we'll work through that. And then there's a set of decals that should be in here along with the instructions. Decals from Polar Lights have gotten better and better and better over the years, so I have no worries about those. Again, this is really a work in progress for getting this running done. All right, I'm going to go to work on this. When we come back, we'll have the parts washed, and then we'll start running wiring chases and running lights, figuring all that out, and then when we come back, we'll have some progress. Thanks. Okay, back with the NX-74205, the USS Defiant from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So just gone through and cut in my wiring chases, and this is actually really pretty straightforward. I think what I'm going to do is build this on the bottom. I think you can do that by putting in these bottom parts here, and you can put your front piece in, and you can put your front piece for the Bussard collectors, the rear piece for the warp drive engines. I've also had the space in there. There's going to be two blinking lights. So on the right side or starboard side, you'll have two green blinking lights. And using our model here, those will go, there'll be one that will go here and one that will go right there. Kit supplies clear parts for that. So I'm going to make that my starboard side and port side light. So green on the starboard side, red on the port side, and we'll have two blinking lights in each of these nacelles, if you will. Nacelles, pylons, I'm not sure what to call them. Anyway, regardless, there is a spot in it right there that you can see. I think you can see that right there for one below, and on the upper side it's going to be right into there, and we'll have to glue those in. Again, one on the top, one on the bottom for just typical Star Trek, right? I've also gone ahead and used my micro mask and filled in these two spots here. These are going to be supplied with a blue LED that should provide the blue glow there, and then but the key is that you have to light block the outside area of this. So now once that dries overnight, I can go back with black primer and really prime that in nice and dark. A couple coats of black primer should get that done, and then I think what I did on this one is used black I'm actually pretty sure what I did was use black on the inside and clear on the outside, and then painted this blue, but I'm not going to have to do that. So what we'll do is we'll paint that black on the outside, I'm sorry, black on the inside here after we mask that off, block it with black and leave it as such, and then that will glow blue from just the clear that's provided. I've also taken the time to notch out where the Bussard collectors are going to go. I took and used my little tiny Dremel here and drilled out this piece right here. That is been drilled out, so that will provide light from the back, and I think just a simple LED with maybe some styrene sheet in front of that for diffusion, keep it from having a hot spot, and hopefully that'll glow with the red and the copper lining on top of that Bussard collector. That is a real super challenge on this little tiny model. I think I used a copper, I'm not sure how I did that last time. It's been about 4 years since I built this, but a copper brush, and just went across there. So I've got an idea how to do that a little more effectively this time. We'll get to that when we get to that. And then finally, once this front end is together, I went ahead and drilled a set of holes in here and opened those up. You can see again I've got a space there that once I've got the bottom of this wired, I can just simply fit this on top and then fit the top piece here for the nacelle right over the top of that. So the build order, put the bottom in, and then put the bottom of the nacelles in, put the front and back Bussard collectors and warp drive in, get all of that wired and ready to go from the bottom. You don't have to wire anything from the top, except for the two little Bussard, or two little station keeping lights that'll go in there, and that will be a way to do it. Then the last thing that I did real quickly here, just using my little tiny Dremel, I went ahead and drilled a hole here, actually opened that up, and opened that up into the back. And when that is closed up, that gives you enough of a hole right here, right there, that gives you enough of a hole that now will match and gives us a space here that we can wire in through the back. So we can wire in here and then connect all the wires in one spot. There's really only going to be two wires down into the base. One set of wires is going to go in for general lights, and one set is going to go in. I'm going to use my Flytron. I've used it before in the past. It's a Flytron beacon, normally used in RC lights, but it's really super tiny. When I get to that, we'll show you. For the blink rate, again, that's got a blink rate that's close to 500 hertz, megahertz, or 500 hertz, 1/2 second, if you will. And you know, so on a 1/2 second and off, on a 1/2 second and off. So I think that's I've used that in other spaceships, and I like that look. And for $2.18 out of England, that's not a bad price. So all the wiring chases have been cut, so super thrilled with that. The next step is to go ahead and light block all of that. And I think the other thing that I want to do is take some time, as soon as I find the part, I'm sure it's around here somewhere. Yeah, upon further reflection, this part here, we're kind of in the same boat. We'll tape off this section behind here, and then we'll I will use my micro mask in these three sections here, mask that off, and then spray paint that black to give me a color mask. And I don't know if I did that with this one here. Looks like I just used a gray over the top of that, which actually looks pretty nice. I think I'll do that again. So we'll put my little micro mask, and what I use for that is I've got a fine line applicator here, And this becomes real simple to do. You just find your groove here, which I've got. Hold that steady. And that fills up pretty nice. Just like so. So that fine line applicator works really nice for those little tiny spots. And it's got a little wire that goes into the orifice, keeping it from clogging up. All right, so that's going to sit and harden overnight. We'll leave that sit there, and then when we get back, we will have 2 coats of black primer sprayed on the inside of this, and then a coat of white primer sprayed on the inside of this, and that's going to get us ready to wire inside of here, stitch everything up, and then we'll start on closing it up at that stage. But that's a long way away for right now. We'll come back with you as soon as we got progress. Thanks. All right, hey, good day. It's been just a few seconds for you. However, it's been almost 6 months for me working on the USS Defiant, and the only progress I made was actually getting the light blocking done and some of the other stuff filled in with my liquid mask. It's been a tremendous 6 months. I did an entire remodel of the house, including building a whole new hobby shop, kitchen remodel, painted the entire house on the interior, new flooring, etc. So that explains my absence, and I'm back and ready for going into the fall. Very excited about that. In addition to the Defiant, what you see here, I've cut all the wiring chases, of course. I've actually ordered in from Green Strawberry, as I was getting to this, I've actually ordered in the Green Strawberry resin kit and the resin kit parts and the photo etch. There's just some things on this little model that'll make a big difference for that. So when that comes in, we will get that underway. And as a teaser, I was able to pick up at my local hobby shop the 1/420 scale Deep Space Nine USS Defiant. So I will also, and I also have the Green Strawberry kit coming in for this, but this is going to be something that I'm not going to do this at the same time, because I'm going to get all the parts mixed up if I try that. But I'm going to finish this Defiant that we're working on, the 1/1000 scale Defiant, and then we'll work on the Defiant 1/420th scale. So very excited about that. In the meantime, this video is getting a little long. We'll let it trail out. Do appreciate your likes, your support, your subscriptions. Looking forward to a fantastic fall building season, and when we return, we'll have some of this underway from the photo etch standpoint. Until then, please, if you like what you see, hit that like button, smash it if you would, share and subscribe, and we will be back with you soon. Thank you.